What you're about to watch has been done without research or any media training whatsoever. People might also use naughty words or have a potty mouth. If naughty words or potty mouths offend you, please stop watching now. TBH, you're probably best not watching this. Like at all. Nobody else is. Really. I'm talking to myself now, aren't I?
No, you're talking to me on the fancy new setup here for the All Leeds Social Club. I am, of course, Big Scott. What's the crack? And I'm joined by Ed McIntyre from All Things Leeds and Lukey Boy from Order Knows Better. How about you? What happened with Ed there? Oh, there you are.
Was that my internet going down there?
Yes, it was yours this time. Because I
Oh, dear.
Set up. I'm loving life. How's that dry February going for you down the bottom there?
I'm still, I make it up for everything I didn't do in January with all these bottles across the bottom. I feel like I should be getting a gun out in a second and just popping them all away.
Well, we'll look at that next time. I'm going to have to get that sorted, but sure. Social Club late opening. Thanks for that there, Gail. Yes, welcome aboard. Open the door. Yous are all in. Here we go. I don't actually have a beverage on me tonight, but if yous are, please enjoy, because we are going to get straight into business tonight. With my first announcement, the emoji game is dead. It's gone.
No,
It's done.
No.
I've got rid of it. Look at your fake outcry there. That's absolute nonsense. But it's been a while since I've seen you, I think, isn't it? It's been a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. And in between that, we've got a point from Villa and absolutely nothing from Everton. So let's start off with this. What the hell was that? Everton 3, Leeds 0. Ed, where did it go wrong? What was the issues?
I think the issue was we tried to play a game of football without midfield. We got carved open every time Everton got forward, and Everton weren't good. I don't think they're not a good team. I think they're not going to win many more games this season. But yeah, Forshaw on the bench, he should have started, in my opinion. To not have midfield is probably the most important part of the pitch, in my opinion. We went out there with cocky midfield, but then he pulled it to a back three, and we never do well with a back three, in my opinion. We never do well with a back three. And 𝐾𝐿 can't play that holding role. Rodrigo, he's more of a forward player than a box-to-box midfielder. So yeah, it was the lineup altogether, really. The fact that we didn't start Forshaw, and then when you're looking at the substitutes, which I know we'll get onto later, none of them really made an impact, and it was questionable really from Bielsa with the starting 11. But I mean, none of the players stepped up and played well at all. I think they were shattered from Wednesday, and you saw it with Villa as well. They looked really off against Newcastle, but no excuses there. We were just awful. It was shit really from Leeds, and didn't deserve anything from that game whatsoever.
Look, do you think Stuart Dallas going off so early in the game really that changed the dynamic? Do you think that made a big difference when he went off?
Yeah, look, I don't think he certainly didn't help matters. I think when Gelhardt came on, bless him, he did all right. He did well. He did everything he'd expect an under-23s player to do. He didn't do all that wrong. But I don't think Stuart Dallas playing 90 minutes would have affected the outcome of that game. I thought from the off we were in trouble. Everton wanted every second ball a lot more than we did. If Lampard was going to get his team fired up against any other team towards the second half of this season, it was going to be Leeds United. So yeah, let's take it as a lesson learned, I suppose, and hopefully move on and get some better performances in over the next two or three games, which are going to be really tough.
Yeah, the next three in particular, again, we'll get onto those later. It has been it's something I've not been looking forward to. But then again, with the way Rangers played against Dortmund today and pulling out that result, of course I'm going to bring that up.
Celtic 1-0 down as well.
I've literally just seen the chat there. Celtic are losing as well. If Rangers can pull off a win like that against Dortmund, surely we can do something in the next three. But again, we'll get into that in a little while. With the substitutes and stuff there on Saturday, Leo Hjelde, someone that from his first performance with us, I've been banging on and crying for him to be playing more. But against Everton, he just had a bit of a torrid time. He didn't really get into it. Do you think there's anything more he could have done in that game to make a bit of an impression?
No, I honestly don't. I think it was unfair to. I mean, unfair is probably not the best word to use, because we didn't really have another alternative option. But you could have put prime Roberto Carlos at left back for us at the weekend, and we'd have still been beaten handsomely. I just think they seem to. They'll be fucked for the rest of the season. They'll beat us. They'll hammer us 3-0, and they'll go on a shit run. Now, you trust me, they will. They've outperformed themselves in that 90 minutes, and they won't perform again like that again this season. As they hadn't for the previous whatever it was 18 games they hadn't won for, or something like that. We say it every time we get beaten by a team that we expect to beat, that they all fire up against Leeds United, but why the fuck aren't we firing up against them? Do you know what I mean? These are the games. These are our 6 pointers. These are our battles. The next three against Man United, Spurs, Man United, Liverpool, and Spurs are our free hits. That they should be our games where we love being in the Premier League, because that's the big games we want to be playing in and we want to watch. But they're not our battles. They aren't games that we should be going and expected to take 3, 6, 9 points from. But yeah, back to what you say about Hjelde, I think it was unfortunate that he had to play such a long time against such an intense Everton front line. I think Everton played like that in that style against probably 80-90% of the league, and I think they get a result.
Yeah. I thought Everton were a bit better than they have been in recent history. Ed, would you accredit that to the Lampard effect, or was it a case of we were that bad we made them look exceptionally good?
I think it's a mix of both, really. I think, they were fired up. It was Lampard's first home game as Everton manager?
Yeah. I can't believe you're acknowledging there's a Lampard effect as well here.
No, but that new manager bounce, they're at home against Leeds, which is obviously a big thing. But I do also think that it's the fact that we were just so poor. We made it easy for them. Our defense wasn't on top. I thought going forward, we weren't. In the second half, we didn't create anything. But first half, I think we hit the bar twice, didn't we, Rodrigo? So we could have nicked a goal or two, but yeah, we made it too easy for them, really.
It was always against the run of play, though, wasn't it? I mean, even had Rodrigo scored both those goals and it's taken us into 2-2 or whatever it would have done, it'd have been well against the run of play and absolutely nothing that we deserve. We didn't work hard enough. We didn't seem to want it, and I think we just got to move on and expect a reaction. I think out the players, out the team.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think had Rodrigo's 2 crossbar shots went in, do you think that maybe changes the mentality, changes the dynamic of the game, and maybe our players are more up for it, opposed to being 2-0 down early on and just being deflated?
We'll never know, will we?
Yeah.
But no, I think it'd have been absolute flukes had we scored even one goal. We were lucky to only be beaten 3-0 in my opinion.
Yeah, I think now obviously for anyone that was watching the watch along, I missed pretty much the majority of the first half because I had to dress up as a giant bunny and go and do a birthday party visit. So I left it in the incapable hands of Phil Miles and Ellie. And the last time they done a watch along, we got beat 7-0 by Man City. So I just want to put everyone at ease now. They are permanently banned from watch along duty. Permanently banned. But again, Saturday's result, Saturday's performance raises some questions, and there's been a lot of questions. There's been a lot of talk going on this past week, and we're going to touch on this now. Now, before we do go into it, I just want to make everyone very clear that these are individual opinions. I don't think anyone's here is going to be full on saying Bielsa has to go, blah, 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 blah. I think that before anyone jumps on board, we do want all your opinions. So get on the comments now and let us know your thoughts. Moving forward, folks. By the way, I took that overlay off because I missed your beautiful face there, Luke, behind all them bottles of beer. So moving forward, whether we get results in the next couple, I want to word this really well because everyone's jumping down everyone's throat this past week. Whether we get results and whether we stay safe and don't get relegated this season, there are underlying issues that initially didn't bother us so much under Bielsa because we were getting great results. He was getting us promoted. He brought us back to the top flight. But from we've been up, we have not really improved. We haven't invested as much and brought in better players. We haven't increased the size of the squad. And this is now quite apparent that it's taken a toll on the team with the amount of injuries this season alone we have had. Moving forward, do you see this ever changing, Ed? If Bielsa is still the manager next year and signs to stay on, do you see that being something that Bielsa would change, or will he stick to his guns?
It's a difficult question to answer, really, because you look at the transfer policy, you don't know if it's Bielsa saying don't sign these players, or whether it's the board who just aren't pulling their finger out and trying hard enough to sign players. We know that Bielsa likes a small squad, but I doubt Bielsa was looking, through January and thinking, yeah, we don't need anyone else. We don't need to sign anyone. Surely, there was something there where he thought, right, we could do with another couple of bodies, and we just didn't sign anyone. It's a weird one, but obviously, we've had a small 18-man squad ever since Bielsa came in, and it's never really been an issue until this season. But this season just shows you, why having a small squad can be such a damaging thing, really. Going into next season, if Bielsa's still here, we need to take lessons from this season and go, look, we can't let that happen again. We can't get, if a case arises where we get all these amount of injuries, we can't not have, a strong team and a strong bench going into Premier League games, because it's going to be another dreadful season next season if that happens again. Next season, if Bielsa's still here, he needs to increase the amount of first team players he has in his squad, because we can't go through another season like this again.
Yeah. Do you think with the say we didn't have as many injuries, look, do you think that this is still a problem with so many of the players getting on the worst side of 30? Do you think that some of these players are still going to be able to keep up the intensity Bielsa expects if nothing changes for next season? Or do you think we could be in for an even worse ride?
Yeah, as Ed opened with then, it's a difficult question to answer, and it's very much it very much depends on what position we're in, really. I mean, you've only got to use last season as an example. We finished 9th in the league with pretty much the same group of players, and I mean, all right, yeah, we let Pablo go and Alioski and Berardi. I think they were on, and then obviously a few others from youth and things. But I think they were the only first team players to leave, if I remember right, last season. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
But we've obviously replaced we brought in. I mean, Firpo's been unfortunate with injuries and whatever else. But to use that as a comparison, this is what I'm failing to understand. Now, we have had a lot more injuries this season. Yeah, we have. However, we've also had the same squad available pretty much as last season. So if we hadn't have had those injuries and we'd been sort of like for like and mirrored last season in comparison to injuries and players as well, we've lost some important players. Bamford for the majority of the season. Phillips has been out for a long, long time this season. Cooper as well. So for those who appreciate what Cooper does to the team, yes, he's probably not our finest centre back, but he's our captain. He's our leader. He's a player who He's a player who the players will look to put in a strong tackle and set a platform and really give it to some side. So anybody who's played football will probably appreciate what Cooper does for the team. I just don't get it. I can't get why we look so lackluster in some of our performances. And the only explanation for me is because we're having to sort of farm in some of the 23s, and they're just not ready yet.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. Just looking through some of the comments we've got here, and do you know what? I'm glad to see this, lads, because they're very, very diverse in the views here. Thankfully, we're not having anyone just being an absolute wab and being a mouthpiece. So yeah, first of all, go with this. We don't have Calvin and Bamford. So again, especially going into these next three, without them two, can we make a dent on them?
Yeah.
No, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think. Sorry, Ed. Yeah, As I've highlighted there, that's pretty much the three players that I've highlighted there that we've had missing for the majority of the season are pretty much the spine and the engine of our team and how we play. Everything goes through them, and without them, it's shown that how vulnerable, I suppose, we can be as a team. And if we don't have a backup or a ready-made backup, players have stepped in and they've done an all right job. But they're not Calvin, they're not Cooper, and they're not Paddy Bamford, And I think that is ultimately where we're missing, and that's where our poor form comes. That's where everything. That's where it all stems from, in my opinion. Obviously, there is no right or wrong, I don't suppose, and we've all got our opinions. And I've had many arguments on Twitter over the last couple of weeks about Bielsa and
you don't argue on Twitter. What are you talking about?
Non-stop, mate. I literally have my lunch break and spend it arguing and go back to work 10 times angrier than when I went on my break. But yeah, look, I think people need to relax and be careful what we wish for as well. I think if there was a ready-made, better replacement out there than Bielsa, then I think people may well be wrong if they think that.
I think hoping for better and all. I think that's something that we're always going to have to be like, look, at some point Bielsa is going to go. He's not getting any younger, and the way his style, like, we're the only team in the Premier League does man marking as well, so maybe it might not be a chance of getting a better version of Bielsa. It might be a case of getting someone at the end of the season with new ideas that could possibly push us. But I'm just looking for the comment. Somebody had said about, yes, there we go, Roger Wilson. Where'd it go? Come back, Roger. Who else would do a better job than Bielsa with this squad? We need a better caliber of player to stay in the Premier League. I don't know if it's still Premiership. It's 2022. Ed, what do you make of that? Do you think if we do have the better caliber of player, even with the injuries that we would inevitably get, because all Bielsa teams have always suffered injuries. They've always been small. And I think I'd said to you earlier, Ed, I actually think this is currently the biggest squad Bielsa's ever worked with.
Yeah.
Do you think we're a better caliber of player where it changes things?
I think so. I think, obviously injuries don't help, but when you get the likes of Calvin Phillips out, you've got Forshaw coming in. Yes, he's been great, but there's better midfielders out there than him. Cooper's gone out, Stewart's come in, Juventus come in. They're brilliant, but again, the centre back's better than him. Bamford's out. Dan James isn't a number 9. He's done well, worked hard, but he's not a number 9. Gelhardt, I'd love to see more of him, but again, he's just a youth player coming in. If you had good backup players, then the injuries won't seem that bad, because every team gets injuries. I think with an 18-man squad, it's okay, but yeah, with more caliber play, strength and depth is what it's about. Even if everyone was fully fit, you're looking at the bench, you'll still have Tyler Roberts on there. He's not good enough for Leeds. You can get some way better than him just for backup. It's more, if we have better caliber players backup, then I don't think the injuries would damage us as much as they have this season.
I'm glad you've mentioned that, because we're going to move on to, still within the remit of the good, the bad, and the injured of Bielsa. The impact of not making an impact, substitution choices, systematically from day one. I don't think, even in the Championship, Bielsa got these right. I think we've always sort of went, why are you making that sub, or why are you taking him off? He's been playing brilliant. And I think the straw to break the camel's back was this weekend, when Raphinha was subbed at half-time, not because he was injured, but because Bielsa tactically believed and consciously decided to bring on Tyler Roberts. And again, we're not going to get into Tyler Roberts bashing. This is all going to be constructive. I've done my research. So bear with us on this. Raphinha taken off. Bielsa thought it would have been better to play James on the right and Tyler Roberts up front. Ed, you brought up Tyler Roberts there, so why? I don't even have a constructive question, but why could you have seen him thinking that was a good idea?
It wasn't a good substitution at all, really. I don't understand why he took Raphinha off at half time. You know, he wasn't having a great game, but no one was really having a good game at all. I think he's looking at it as well. Like Wednesday night, Raphinha didn't have a good game, kept him on for the second half, still wasn't great. So, going into this, he wasn't having a good first half. Why keep him on in the second half if he's not going to make an impact like he didn't make an impact in midweek? But like Raphinha, even though he's having a bad day, he's still one of our best players on the pitch, and he can still, bring some magic up. So, yeah, we should have kept him on. I don't understand why you would take Raphinha off tactically and replace him with Tyler Roberts up front. I do not understand that. And if you're bringing on a striker, so Dan James can go on the wing, you bring on Gelhardt. It's a no-brainer. Tyler Roberts, I like the guy. He's a good player, but he's not good enough for the Premier League, and he's not good enough for Leeds United. There's no argument against that. He just isn't good enough. He hasn't made an impact in any games. The last good game he had for Leeds, in my opinion, was before the pandemic. When we beat Hull City away, he came off the bench at number 9 and scored twice. Yeah, that was probably his last good game for Leeds United. He doesn't make an impact at all, and we've seen it so many times. He comes on and doesn't make an impact. And I mean, there's no argument really to say Gelhardt will make an impact, but like the thing is, we've seen Tyler Roberts come off the bench so many times and just not do well. We haven't seen what Gelhardt can do with a full second half. So it would just be nice to see, what we're working with here. If Gelhardt had come on and if he had changed the game just a little bit, then there's a solid argument there saying, Gelhardt is better than Tyler Roberts. But we haven't seen it yet. So, I'd like to see more of Joe Gelhardt. But, Tyler Roberts, he's not good enough. Simple as that, really.
Look, how do you feel? With Joffrey coming on, do you feel that is something that Bielsa's just overlooking? Is there something there that maybe you can't understand? Why is Joffrey not coming on?
See, I've got another theory on this. I think Bielsa's trying to protect some of our future stars. I genuinely do believe that. I think he realizes that bringing Joe Gelhardt on at 2-0 down when we get battered by Everton isn't going to make much of an impact, or potentially might make an impact, but it's not going to do much in the short scheme of things. I'm not, I'm not. I appreciate how good a player we've got in Joffrey Gelhardt, and I believe he could make an impact. But I'm also playing devil's advocate when I'm thinking, there must be a reason why he's not bringing this kid on. He's seen how good he is. He sees him in training every day. Why is he not bringing him on? And the only sensible reason I can find is that he's protecting him. He's not wanting players to go on and have a 25-minute, half an hour, 40-minute cameo in a game where we're going to be battered anyway. We could all tell we were going to get battered that game. There was no way back in that game at halftime. Even at halftime, we were 2-0 down. We were getting outplayed, left all over the pitch. Why? What? Whether we got to go back or not, I sort of see where he's coming from in not bringing Gelhardt on. But on the other hand, when do you bring him on? Do you only bring him on if you're 2 or 3-0 up, or you can't sort of pick and choose when we're going to allow this absolute star that we've got on our hands to make a real impact. And I don't know if that's one of Bielsa's bad traits or habits or what, but in my opinion, he's doing it to best protect the younger players. They shouldn't be. They probably shouldn't be open to coming on and being battered for 45 minutes. What good's that going to do their development?
But if he wants to protect players, though, why is he bringing on Tyler Roberts?
That's a brilliant question.
Tyler Roberts isn't hailed as the next. I dare say it, but the next Rooney. Tyler Roberts is a Welsh fringe international player. I don't think Tyler Roberts is great. He's certainly not Premier League level, and certainly not Leeds United level. And I think there's a lot better impact substitutions you can bring on than Tyler, or even start in some games. But I don't know. That's the only legitimate reason I can come to why he's not played some of these different options. Why not even Rodrigo up front? And bring somebody.
I think that's with some we've all said ourselves a few times about put Rodrigo up front. He is naturally a striker, but then you look at the last 2 games, and it's, for me anyway, I think it's the first time that we've seen Rodrigo looking good as a number 10. I think it was actually Gary from Talking Shut that said that he's starting to look like the number 10 that we bought as a number 9. It was the best quote I've heard all week. But look, since we're talking about Roberts and Gelhardt, I've done a wee bit of digging. I'm not good with this research stuff, but I've done it. Now, just to give everyone a wee bit of an indication here. So these are their total amount of minutes. This very top one. The total amount of minutes played by each of them. Now, obviously, Tyler Roberts has been here for, 4 years? The one in brackets, that's how many minutes he's played this season. Joffrey has played a total of 318 minutes with us this season, and he has got the exact same amount of goals and the exact same amount of assists as Tyler Roberts has this season. Tyler Roberts is on 1 goal and 1 assist this season. So's Joffrey. Joffrey's played a third of that time. Now, I've had people saying, but you look at their under-23 stats. Well, I did. I looked at their under-23 stats, and from Joffrey has joined us, he has got 18 goals for the under-23s. Tyler Roberts has 5. 4 assists for Joffrey and 1 for Tyler. Like, whenever I looked at that, I actually got a bit angry because I thought, how does Bielsa not see this? So again, for me, that just backed up an opinion I have that personally, and again, this is not an attack on Tyler Roberts because he seems like a decent guy, just from the way he composes himself. But I do not understand why Tyler Roberts is in a Premier League team and getting game time over people that are hungrier. Do you think that's fair of me to say, or is that maybe a bit overboard? Look, you're looking very deep in thought.
I think it's fair. Yeah, sorry, I think it's fair, but we don't actually have any other options at the moment. He's got to be a squad player for Leeds United. It would have been fantastic for us to allow him to go out on loan in the summer. In January. But if we've got no other players, if we're feeding off our 23s now and we're really struggling in terms of bodies, how can you let something like that go out? I hope it does, and I hope he scores an hat-trick, and I hope he really gets some confidence from that, because I think that's what he needs. I think that somebody must rate him, and people who know a lot more about football rate him higher than we do. And
Bielsa sees something. He has to see something.
Yeah, these guys get paid an absolute fortune for being scouts and coaches and picking a team week in, week out. There must be something in there that is just not clicking, either on whether it's on a game day, whether it's confidence or what. And a lot of it does seem like confidence to me. We've seen how good he can be. He can, I think it was an interview with, I think it might have been Stuart Dallas when he won the Player of the Year award. Who's the most skillful in the squad? And I'm sure they picked Tyler up. He said he could turn you in a phone box. He's got something about him. He has, but he's just he's yet to show it properly, I think, for Leeds United. So, look, we can
Do
see.
you think it's maybe on us as fans? Because even watching it, because obviously you guys get the games a shitload more than I do, and a lot of the ones in the comments as well. You all get the games a lot more than I do because I live in fucking Newton. Do you think maybe it's on us to then, instead of when he comes on, that the place doesn't go silent and the place doesn't start booing? That I've seen so many people saying that if Roberts comes on Sunday, they're going to be booing. Like, is it maybe on us to go, do you know what? Let's come on, get at them, Tyler, get really behind them and shove them on more? Like, is that maybe that gives them confidence as well? What do you think, Ed?
I mean, for fans need to support the players. I agree with that, but like also, Robert should look at it thinking, all right, they're booing me for a reason. I'm gonna shut them up and prove them wrong. A few years ago, Bamford did that. We saw with his celebrations, he was shushing the crowd, which I didn't agree with him doing. But if you're not going to have a good game,
about him, look how we feel about Bamford now and how integral he is.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not having a good game, you're going to get ridiculed by fans. It's just the nature of the job that you're in. You're paid an absolute fortune to play professional football. If you're not going to do well, we're going to give you stick for it. We're going to tell you, yeah, you haven't done good here. It's like in any job. If you don't do a good job, your boss is going to drag you in and say, yeah, you're not doing well. Just now you've got thousands of eyes on you. So yeah,
I think the problem is that before social media, you used to sit in the pub with your mates and you'd have had to go to your mates before social media was a thing. So the players weren't really getting it. Whereas now the first instinct is tweet. Get on that keyboard and tweet. That's the first instinct.
Right, well, if the players don't like abuse on social media, get off social media.
Get off it, yeah.
Exactly. You're not going to stop everyone, saying things on social media. So just get off social media if you don't like reading it. But it should give him a boost. He should be going on thinking, all right, no one's cheering me. Some people are booing me. I'm just going to shut them up and prove them wrong and put a really good game in.
But this again. This isn't even on Tyler. The fact that he's not making an impact, coming on and changing the games. Bielsa has been persistent with him, and it's been constant. It's not a new thing. This has been ongoing. Surely this has to be a point where Bielsa goes, look, it's not working. Is he maybe just being a wee bit too sentimental? Maybe, do you think, with Tyler? And he's wanting him to hurry up and come good?
He probably has his favourites.
I mean, everybody does, don't they? I mean, every club and every manager has the favourites. I mean, look at Warnock, who took Paddy Kenny to every single club he ever played at. And, but yeah, look, I think we've got to appreciate that. I think what you say about the fans, yeah, fair enough. We probably should be encouraging him, and I hate that. I hate the people tagging players and or even just saying singling players out. I mean, we conceded 2 goals the other day. It weren't even on the pitch, and people were blaming Tyler Roberts. Do you know what I mean? it's stuff like that. Yeah. Like we just need to have I think we're a very spoiled fan base because of how big and successful we've been in the past and things. We have an identity and the expectation is high as a Leeds United fan. And if you don't live up to that expectation, near on immediately. I mean, I feel for Dan James, after his first few games and things weren't going too well, but luckily he's turned a corner. He's playing really, really well. Arguably him and Rodrigo, ironically, have been probably our best 2 players over the last few games.
Games, yeah.
So yeah, look, there's still Tyler Roberts has still got, I would arguably say, to the end of this season to put in a good few performances to potentially stay with Leeds United in my opinion. Because I think if the summer comes around and different things happen, movements within the club, I think he might be arguably be out there either on the transfer or in the loan market.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna put a pin in the Tyler Roberts debate and finish off the big Bielsa debate, as tonight really has been. We've been trying to be as constructive as we can because social media has been toxic, and it's almost now it's this time of year, and Phil Hay said it himself. Every February under Bielsa, it's been, is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going? And I actually think everyone should actually give the Athletics recent podcast. We listened to it to start, but Phil Hay talks about certain things that if Bielsa does go, that he'll miss us just as much as we'll miss him. So on the topic of if Bielsa goes or when he goes, who's next in line? Because let's be honest, we're never going to find anyone that in our eyes as a fan immediately is going to be better than Bielsa. There's a few names here we've thrown up. Corberán, obviously doing great with Huddersfield, and he's worked under Bielsa. Valverde took over at Bilbao from Bielsa and led them to 4 great years. Obviously, look, you pointed out earlier, he done that with Barca. Jesse Marsch as well seems to be the new flavour, and it seems very 49ers driven. He was the manager that brought in Brendan Aronson, and also with more links to a New York City player as well today. There's a lot of Americanization stuff going on here. Who would you see out of those names, or any that you can think of yourself? Ed, we'll start with you. When Bielsa goes, because it will happen, whether it's at the end of this season or next, we don't know. He will go. Who would you like to see or think would be the best fit to continue on?
It's horrible to think about. I haven't really given it a thought about who's going to replace Bielsa because I just don't want to think about it.
This is like telling your granny you need to get rid of your granda and get a new one. This is how I feel. It's like I want a new granda, but I don't because I love my granda.
Yeah.
Who do you want as your new granda?
I mean, looking at the names that you flashed up there, I don't know. I'd say Carlos Corberán. If he was still at Leeds and the under-23s, a few years ago, I was looking at thinking, right, if Bielsa goes in the summer, give Carlos Corberán a chance. He's very like for like with Bielsa. Plays the Bielsa way, very in tune with what he does with the first team, and he did well for our under-23s. At Huddersfield now, he's got them in the playoffs. When he took over Huddersfield, they were right down the bottom of the championship, and he's got them playing good football now. So, Carlos Corberán's gone out there, got first team managerial experience now, doing a good job. I don't know. I'd look at him really. I doubt we'll be able to get someone like Pochettino in that you had on that graphic.
Yeah, there's a whole load of names being thrown about, but those were the three: Valverde, Corberán, and Jesse Marsch seem to be the three with the most credibility. I suppose the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an answer now, I'll go with someone who I know, and that's Carlos Corberán. So I'll say Corberán.
No worries. Look, who would you be going for? Anyone at all? It doesn't have to be in those names flashed up.
Yeah, look, for what it's worth, I don't think we can get better than Bielsa. I don't think as a club we're able to attract anybody better than Bielsa. I don't think Bielsa gets even 75% of what he gets from that squad. And I think without him, we really would be relegation fodder this season. I believe we're still in a relegation battle, but I think we'd be a lot lower in the league with less points had we not have somebody like Marcelo leading us. So just wanted to get that in there first of all. In terms of potential for succeeders, then successors. I don't know.
Successors. Yeah.
Well, what's a successor? Actually, don't go there.
You might want to go down Canal Street, mate.
I can't. I don't know enough about any. Obviously, I know about Poch, and it's not really worked for him since leaving Spurs. Really, all that much. Valverde, as you said rightly, had a great few years at Bilbao, but then was an absolute car crash at Barca. So yeah, I'd like to see somebody like Corberán, who's almost been an understudy to Bielsa for those few years, and then moved on to when he felt it was right, albeit to the doggies. But yeah, I think somebody like Corberán might be a good shout. But is he qualified enough to lead Leeds United in the Premier League? I don't think so. I think we should be aiming a lot higher. So yeah, the honest answer is I don't know, I don't want to think about it. And
you hate me for asking you this.
I do. I can see. But I also listened to and read the articles on the Athletic, and Marsh is been thrown around quite heavily due to the American links and whatnot as well. So I think that's probably, if that happens, I think that is probably the most likely as it stands currently today. Do I think Bielsa will be here next year is another question, and my answer is yes. I actually do now. I changed my opinion. I know I said a week or two ago that he probably wouldn't be, but I've got a feeling he's got unfinished business, regardless of what happens at the end of the season.
I have to agree with you, and see what HWH. Thank you for commenting this. I think this pretty much sums up how all of us feel deep down inside, is we actually can't imagine this Premier League Leeds side without Bielsa at the helm.
Yeah.
And I see loads of people in the comments saying that some of the names are a bit far-fetched and out of our league, etc. But folks, Marcelo Bielsa is our manager. Literally nobody is far-fetched for us. Just saying, if Marcelo Bielsa is our manager, we can have whoever the Friar Tuck we want. It's that simple. But I think a lot of it will come down to where we finish. Again, none of this is going to get talked about in Leeds until the end of the season. You know, there might be a few wee feelers going out, because obviously they have to do their due diligence and see, right, if he's not going to stay, we need to have another manager lined up. And I think this is just the time of year that all this stuff starts to come out, blah, 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 blah. And again, if 49ers are lining up for a full takeover here, anything could happen. Anything can happen, and you can see the likes of Jesse Marsh coming in, and you can see the Americans and the cheerleaders and the hot dog stands and the mascot walking around the stadium throwing t-shirts at people. You can see it all coming. You can. Halftime show. Here we go.
The Rock introducing the teams at Elland Road.
That's it. The Rock. Never mind the Rock.
Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg in that on at halftime.
Oh, Pineapple Pete. There's a wrestler from Leeds called Pineapple Pete. He'll come out and introduce the teams. But we're going to put a pin in the Bielsa thing now, because next week, would you fuck off your motorbike? We've got a week from absolute hell next week, starting with the Scum, then the Bin Bippers, and then Spurs, all in a week's work. What the actual hell? Now, I obviously run a poll to see how many points people think we're going to be getting from these. So, Ed, I'll start with you. How many points do you see us getting out of the next 3?
4.
4?
Oh,
Look,
that's what I'm going for. 4.
Look, 4?
Yeah.
I think we'll probably end up with 2, maybe 3. But we'll get into it. But here's how the poll went. So how many points from the next 3 games? 4% of the voters said 9 points. They were obviously on crack cocaine. 6% said 5 to 7 points. The reason I didn't say 8 was because you can't actually get 8 points from 3 games. 64% 1 to 4, and 26% said we're getting nothing. So there you have it. 1 to 4 points seems to be the majority vote. Lads, let's look firstly at Scum. Ronaldo just went 6 games without scoring a goal, and he got one. And then Fernandes scored in the 7th minute of the 4 minutes of injury time to make it 2-0. It's amazing. It only happens with Scum, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Indicating 4 minutes of injury time. Fernandes in the 7th gets a goal. Oh God. Are any of you going to the game first of all?
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
Since they got older, so
Bastards. Just say it. Share the love. Look, what are you expecting to see on Sunday?
I think I would be happy with a reaction and a good performance. Look, before Man United's result the other day, I thought it would have been a great time to play them. But look, they're going to be licking their lips. It's a great time to play us at Elland Road as well. So, providing I see a performance and I see a spirited 90 minutes from them, look, I don't mind. I still expect us to nick at least a draw out of the game, though.
Nice. Ed, what are you hoping to see on Sunday?
Like Luke, just to be action really from the loss against Everton. You just want the players to go out there and put in a good performance that you're going to be proud of. We don't want it to, but last season at Elland Road we drew 0-0. That was a weird game. Both teams made like really odd changes. There were weaker teams and there wasn't really much going for it. But the other three times we played Man United under Bielsa, 4-0 loss in Australia. What was it? 6-2, 5-1. We've been absolutely battered by them in those three occasions. So this game on Sunday is either going to go like that, we're going to get absolutely battered by them, or Man United will crumble under a hostile crowd. I think the Leeds United fans are going to be well up for this game. It's the first time we're playing Scum at Elland Road back in the Premier League with fans in attendance.
20 years.
At Elland Road. So, the fans are going to be up for it. If we make it hostile for Man United, their players could crumble under that. And I think, do you want a prediction now or?
Yes, that's the next thing I'm going to say. So I'm actually going to start I'm going to be documenting these and I'm going to be keeping track of them. I'm completely taking this idea from Order Knows Better because they're very, very good at keeping track of who said what. So I'm going to keep track of our score predictions as well.
Well, I'm going to make a different guess on here then because I'm in a league on there. So I'm going to be serious on that one. I'm going to be outlandish on this one. I'm going to really go to town.
Go for it. What's the score going to be against the Scum? Come on.
3-1 Leeds.
Yeah, go on, Leeds.
I was going to go the exact same. I've been saying it all week. I think Scum are going to go 1-0 up, but then I think the crowd will get right behind the team, and I think we'll go out and win 3-1. I really do.
Right. Well, as you know me, I have never ever predicted a loss for us, and anytime I think we're going to lose, I get all diplomatic and be like, well, if they all show up and the right team's picked and they all do their jobs, well, there's no reason why we can't get a win. But see, after Rangers just absolutely annihilated Dortmund tonight, I am going Leeds United 1-0.
I tell you one thing we should really push, and Harry Maguire is absolute dog shit. Stick Dan James on him, and he'll get an hat trick. He'll get an hat trick at the weekend.
Yeah. He will too. Oh God! But that's not all we have this week. That's not all we have. We've got a wee bus trip for some down to Liverpool again. Now, obviously, the last outing to Liverpool last weekend didn't go too well, and this time we're playing arguably one of the most clinical and dangerous teams in the league, other than Man City. Man City done us over 7-0. And I honestly think Salah and Mane are much, much more clinical than Man City. How do you feel about playing Liverpool in this game? It should have been played before Christmas, but of course Jurgen Klopp decided to cry about too many games. We have too many games to play, and we have the European games to play, and the 12 people, they have COVID, but they don't have COVID. Don't tell anyone. So yeah, like what do you think's going to happen here? Like they're playing us at a rough time, or is it dangerous?
Scotty, do you know that was you just sounded like one of the pigs off Shrek there. That sounds like
yoo-hoo, big summer blowout. That's not. We're going down to Liverpool here, and it's a free hit. If we come,
it's going to end in tears. It's going to end in tears. Yeah. I'm not expecting anything. That's the game we'll lose.
It's a free hit, and we're going to get slapped.
Going to get slapped. I can see in the comments people are already like, "Oh God, like 6-0 Liverpool and all." What do you think? Are we pretty much going to see probably a repeat of that City game?
Yeah, I don't hope not to be so naive and try and open them up like we did with City, but I think we'll get beaten comfortably, but 3-4, maybe 1.
Yeah.
Absolute free hit. I don't think Gail Dale's prediction is too far from what it could be.
I think she could be right. Gail,
Yeah,
I
so
think
do
you're
I.
right on this. We'll stick with your one. We'll say anything less than 6-0, and that's not bad.
Yeah.
But the one game out of the next three that I think we could most definitely win, and it's the one that I'm kind of going, well, yeah, the way they're playing, and if we pick it up a bit and we give a bit of a response, Spurs. And the reason I'm going to mention that one now is because obviously we aren't here next week, and there's going to be a big Northern Ireland Whites meetup at the Franklin Bar for the Spurs game. So if you are from Northern Ireland and you want to meet up with other Northern Ireland Leeds supporters, come and join the Northern Ireland Whites on the Spurs game. So with that being said, Spurs are pretty shit at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've lost the last 3 league games. Lost 2-0 at home to Wolves and 3-2 at home to Southampton.
Yeah. I think we could beat them.
I do. We played them at a similar time last season as well, didn't we? And beat them as well. So yeah, look, I think if realistically, I think if we were to get maximum points from any of those 3 games that we've got upcoming, I would certainly suggest that it would be Spurs. My only concern is we're going to have been run ragged by 2 top sides. So in the previous 2, so might be some tired legs. Hopefully, get a few players back. But yeah, look, I think if you were to ask me, realistically, if we were to play all 3 of those with a full squad, who do I think would have more chance of getting points from? It would be Spurs. However, as we know, nothing's that straightforward. But so I'm still going to predict a Leeds 2-1 win.
2-1. You're going 2-1. Freaking hell, right? Let me get that all down here. 2-1 to beat Spurs. I've literally just put everyone for the Liverpool result. Ask Gail. Now, Ed, what are you going with for Spurs there?
Yeah, I agree with Luke. I think heading into these next 3 games, you'd love a win against Scum, but in reality, we'll probably be lucky to nick a draw there. We're going to lose against Liverpool, no doubt about that. The more winnable game is against Spurs. We've done well past 3 times we've played them. Last season away they won to Jose Mourinho. I think they won that game 3-0 away, but when we played them away. But we still played well in the first half in that game, if I remember. Last season at Elland Road, we beat them 3-1.
Oh, 3-1?
3-1 at Elland Road. This season, obviously, 1-0 up at half-time. And then the second half, instead of sitting back and soaking up pressure, we're still playing our, all guns blazing way that we play. So, we've done well against them. I think, going into this game, I think 3-1 to Leeds. I think we'll win it comfortably again. Look at Spurs' next few games as well. Away at Man City, away at Burnley. Not easy games there. They'll lose against Man City, and away at Burnley, you never know what can happen there. So, yeah.
Well, I think. So, what score are you going with then?
3-1.
3-1. Rich, you're going for 2 3-1s, and I'm going 3-2 against Spurs. I just don't think without Liam Cooper calling that back line at the minute, I don't know. I think we're struggling to control that defence. But what I'm worried about is when Cooper does come back, what happens to Pascal? Because Pascal's arguably our best defender.
Well, Pascal and Cooper have a back two.
Well, that's if he goes with 2 left-footed centre-backs.
Well, we play with 2 right-footed centre-backs, so what's the deal with 2 left-footers?
We might as well go for 2 left-footers. Might as well.
Might as well throw Tony Dorigo in there as well. Why not?
Yeah. Just do it. Just Tony, get your shooting boots on. Here we go. Ian Hart's on free kicks, folks. He's on the free kicks. We're going to win. Ed, do you know who Ian Hart is? Any chance?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
From the history books, me and Luke are like.
Yeah, from his free kick against, was it Wigan?
God. Right. So we've got everyone's scores in. This is going to be. It's going to be nerve-wracking this next week, to say the least. But this Sunday, the first time, Scum at Elland Road, fans in the stadium, this is going to be exciting. Now, I've been debating about doing the watch-along, but I've decided, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. Even if we are getting stuff, I'm going to be sitting here having an absolute meltdown. You're going to be having a ball in the ground, shouting all sorts of abuse. What we would encourage, and it's been going around Twitter, and tip my hat to all those supporting it, is please, please, please please, if you are going to the game, do not be chanting anything that will bring our club into a bad light again. And I'm talking about Munich. I don't just don't. There's no place for that song. Please don't. And I don't mean to be preaching, but I'm sick of seeing Leeds dragged through the mud because of that song. And it's always us getting blamed. So please don't, if you are going, don't sing that there. Feel free to sing about them being absolute scum and anything else. So you go. You've all been told. You've all been told. Thanks for joining me again, lads. It has been an exciting night. And for those waiting on the emoji game, it's not happening. It's done. It's done. Yeah, here. In fact, here's an emoji for you. Who is this former Leeds manager?
𝐾𝐿.
𝐾𝐿, there we go. Yeah. Listen, thanks very, very much for joining us. And look, you have still got the competition for the channel going, don't you?
Yeah, we've scrapped the minimum number of subscribers. It's going to be drawn after the Scum game, not directly after, but our first podcast following. Not the first podcast, actually, because there'll be a Berardi and Coke after-match review. But then our full first podcast on the following Tuesday, I think it's the 23rd, 22nd or something like that. I don't bloody know. Next Tuesday, anyway. We're going to pick any two people from who subscribe to the channel just randomly to win one of the shirts. We've got 2 available that have been kindly donated. So, all you've got to do is literally subscribe to our channel. If you want to do it, go do it now. It's at Ought to Know Better YouTube.
Yep. Just go and look for Ought to Know Better on YouTube. Subscribe. Get yourself in with a chance to win the free top as well. Ed, you have been working hard on all things Leeds here with a new logo and all. What have we got coming up?
Yeah, well, we kind of like has to push back the kind of like relaunch of everything. First podcast back is looking at in 2 weeks. So after the next 3 games, we're going to start fresh.
What a way to come back. Brilliant. Listen, thank you for joining us. Everyone in the comments and that's watching, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the support. Please do click subscribe and press that wee like button. Just boom, right there. Just hit that like button. I love doing that. My daughter watches SS Sniper Wolf and she does that all the time. Just like, boom, hit the like.
I'll pretend I know who that is.
She's got big gazongas. That's all I'm going to say. But listen, thanks very much, everyone. And we'll see you in the next one. Woohoo! Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.